Everyone. We're here to have the second meeting for the senior class, and I hope that you all followed the suggestions from the presentation that we had in June, so that now I'm just going to be moving forward with the assumption that you did all those things that were suggested, and now we're at the point of preparing the applications to be processed. Okay, can I have the next slide? Ms. Kirschbaum, can I have this next slide? Okay, so there are all kinds of deadlines, and all this information is posted in the college office 139. It's on the classroom. So this is just really my reiterating the things that are already all over the place for you to understand. So for those of you that are applying early decision, early action, restrictive early action, you have particular due dates. The college that you're applying to has a due date of November 1st, and the college office, that would be us, is asking you to tell us the list of schools you will be applying to by October 3rd in that early category. You don't have to have your applications completed. You just need to notify us via the electronic form that you will see on the classroom what schools you're applying to early and all the data that we need to know so we can gather the documents that needs to go along with your application. And with 352 students, you can imagine it's quite the organizational extravaganza, so they say. So we need the time to be able to gather everything up and get your application supporting documents sent out on time. So for regular decision and rolling admissions, we are asking that those due dates usually start somewhere, maybe December 1st, but anytime after January, and some of them are rolling right through the summer. So it depends on the particular college and your method of applying. So I would say that by October 30th is when we would like to know all of the schools that you are applying to regular decision. And again, just so that we can be prepared for when those applications come due and follow behind you. Because you apply, then we submit. So any changes that you are going to make have to be done in a certain manner, and all that information is going to be given to you tomorrow on the Google Classroom. And it's very simple. Just follow the directions, and we're going to get through this together. So next slide, please. Can I have the next slide? Okay. So for the majority of your applications, you're going to be completing them via the Common App. It's the simplest way to apply. There are many other ways, as I talked about in the previous presentation. But for the purpose of keeping it simple here, we're going to focus on the Common App, which 99% of you will be using. So I am hoping also.
Devine, can I just can we just take a pause for a second? We're having some trouble with the translation services. Can you just give a few minutes while I work this out?
Yes, absolutely.
I'll let you know when to begin again. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Miss Devine, just one more minute where we fixed the problem. We had a problem with the link being blocked.
Okay. Just let me know when you're good.
Okay, Miss Devine, you may begin now. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Apologies for the challenges with the electronics. Okay. So the common application. I'm hoping that you all at least set up your application. I know a number of you have been coming in asking about how to describe the classes that you're taking. And just, again, this is something that we talked about in the first, the June presentation, but I'll repeat it, that all classes at Staten Island Tech are taught at the honors level. You don't include physical education because it's not incorporated into your GPA. It is a graduation requirement in New York State, but it does not have any weight on your GPA, so you don't include that. If you are taking an AP class, clearly you're going to call it an AP. And if it's a dual enrollment class, it's dual enrollment. And if it's any college now, you're going to get transcripts from the colleges directly, so it's not going to be applicable to what you're doing here. So just keep that in mind. So once you have your Common App set up and ready to go, you're going to complete the FERPA, which is the signature that you have to give that says that you allow us to send your letters of recommendation without you having read them. So that has to be signed in that manner. Otherwise, Naviance will not allow us to sign it. And it's a matter of privacy for all involved. No one is going to write you a letter of recommendation that isn't going to be helpful. They would just tell you no. So it's not a concern, but it is a necessity that you sign that, or we can't process any of your application. So you also have to add a number of colleges to your Common App. Now you don't have to add them all, but you need to add, 2, 3, 4, however many you have ready to the Common App so that you could match it to Naviance. So all these steps are very clearly delineated in the college classroom, and just read carefully what they're asking you to do step by step. And, reading carefully can't be emphasized. So once you match the Common App to Naviance, that ensures that we know exactly where you're applying, what you need, who's writing for you. All that information is right there, and the teachers can upload their letters and their school reports, and the counselors and myself can do the same with our documents. We can attach everything that needs to happen. If you do not match Common App to Naviance, none of that occurs, and so we'll be at a standstill. Now, there are application fees for every college, so you have to make sure that once you get to the point where you're entering the college information, that the information for the college that you are applying to, that you pay the fee that's attached to that. If you have gotten fee waivers from College Board in the past, you'll see on your College Board account that you have a certain number of waivers that are available to you. Otherwise, if you think that you might be eligible, well, all of you should be filling out the lunch form. Again, that's something that we talk about constantly. The lunch form is what that you fill out every year, is what we use to determine eligibility for fee waivers. That's all fee waivers: SAT, ACT, the college applications, AP exams, all of it is determined by that. So it's really important. It's always been important that you do it, but especially now with college applications, it can get very pricey. Otherwise, you'll be paying out of pocket when you don't have to. Okay, so once you do all that, you're going to find that every college wants you to submit something else, like a written statement or another essay, or they'll explain to you exactly what they want. Some of them want multiple writing samples. Whatever it is that they want, you need to make sure that you do it, and that all is going to be evident once you're in the process of actually applying. You'll see clearly what they want, and you'll provide that for them. If you do not add the supplements, then your application is going to be incomplete, and then it's going to slow down the whole process. It's going to bring it to a halt, because they're not going to process it until everything is complete, and they will probably be notifying you that there's something missing from your application. So you need to be really vigilant in paying attention to what you need to do and the time frame that you need to do it. Everything you have some time, but it's time sensitive, and you are in school, so you have to really manage your time well so you can keep up with your classes at the same time as you're applying to college. It's a challenge. Hopefully you did lots of things over the summer to prepare for this, and you're in great shape. Okay, next slide, please. And if I'm talking, okay, so for the most part, colleges use Common App. For the colleges that you are interested in, you'll find them to be Common App colleges. There are exceptions, however. So the University of California has their own system, and it's not the Common App. It's direct. Same with Georgetown and with MIT. Also, the University of Chicago, I do believe, is also a direct application process. But again, as you're going along, doing your research, this is all things that you should be well aware of. Georgetown's deadline for early is October 15th. So that's earlier than the November 1st deadlines that are traditional for most schools. And there are certain schools, certain programs that have different deadlines. And these are all things that you need to know and pay attention to as you've developed your list over the past year. I hope that you've kept track of what the deadlines are for each college, what the expectations are for you with that college. Okay, so now you're at the point that you have matched, you've got your colleges, and you're going to pay your fee. Or as it said here, you can, if you're not eligible for general fee waivers through the income assessment, you can ask the college themselves if they will offer you a fee waiver. And sometimes they will, because they're trying to entice you to come. So there's many options to find those fee waivers. Okay, so now we're at the point you're entering colleges on your account. New for this cycle, well, two things are new. One is so new it didn't even get onto my form, but this one is Stony Brook. Their early action deadline, which is not binding because it's early action, is now going to be October 15th. So it was a surprise to me. They just notified me last week. So brand new information. October 15th is in line with, Georgetown's kind of deadline. So I have to say that many of you apply to Stony Brook early. So please keep this in mind. It's now October 15th. And the other thing that's new that is not on this PowerPoint is that Rutgers is now on the Common App. You can also still apply to them directly, but this is the first year they moved to the Common App, which is nice. Makes it simpler. Okay, next slide. Okay, so many of you, will be applying to city universities, and it really is something that you just should do. You should just do it as a matter of course. We have a great university system, excellent schools. You can't beat the price, and it's a place to land if all else fails. So, and not a bad place to land either. It's very, very great campuses and different programs that they have, and I could go on and on about all the upgrades that have happened through the years with the city university system, and most recently, College of Staten Island has added a doctoral program, which they did not have before. So that's huge, and it changes the whole tone of the campus and raises the prestige of the institution. So please don't discount it because you live here and you think, oh, it's just the CUNY. They're really definitely worth looking into, and I hope that you have spent some time doing so. It's very simple and reasonable because you can put I think it's up to 5 college choices, CUNY choices on one application. The fee for freshmen is $65. Most colleges is 65 and up for one application for one college. So it's very good. There's many different ways that you can pay. When you're on the site, they will explain to you the different options that you have to pay the application fee. Because we're New York City school, if you provide your OSIS number, CUNY will be able to retrieve your transcript themselves. They won't have to wait for us to do so, because we're all part of a similar system, the same system. And if you do not give them the OSIS, then they will not be able to do it. And then they're going to be, contacting me saying, please send the transcript for this individual student. So kind of keep that in mind. It's I don't want to, read this. You all can read, but it's pretty self-explanatory as you go through the application process, how you do it. The helpline is excellent. I have to say that Miss Hannah and Miss Donna are very helpful in understanding the whole CUNY system. And so if you do get stuck, you can always come in the college office and they can help you with that kind of administrative things. And really, this should not be a painful process. We've been talking about this now that we're going into year 2, and you all have been doing all kinds of research on your own. So this hopefully is just reinforcing what you've already found out. This isn't information that's hidden anywhere. Okay, so again, with the city system, you have Macaulay Honors, very prestigious and highly sought after program that will make your very good deal even better because it will cost you nothing. It's totally free, covers all the costs. There's some renovations going on in some of the CUNYs in the city. So housing may be a little abbreviated for the next couple of years because things are under construction. But as far as your coursework and all that, and the opportunities that are offered will remain the same. And of course, on the on the CUNY application, at the bottom, it'll say, will you be applying to Macaulay? And if you are, you will say yes. And you can choose the school that you would like to apply to. And then they allow you to have a second school that they will, should you not gain entry into the school that you chose, then it will be looked at by the next school. Okay, and of course, Sophie Davis, for those of you who are interested in an accelerated medical program, part of City College. Brooklyn College has a BAMD program, small programs. So they're not taking hundreds of students. So if these are things that you're interested in, make sure that you pay attention to those deadlines and complete everything that they ask for. And they're not common out. So you're going to be applying directly through the city university system. But again, it's very, I think they've done a great job of simplifying it and making it very clear. And again, if you have any questions, you can always come in the office and we'll help you navigate. Okay. And those of you who have taken College Now already have, a CUNY First account. So it's a little simpler for you. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so as we continue post-pandemic, so many colleges continue to be test optional. So, the question of the hour is how relevant do they remain? And there's a lot of differences from college to college. If you want them to look at your scores, you need to let them know that you do. If you don't want them to look at your scores, you need to let them know. But at this point in time, based on this, Princeton Review did a survey of colleges in 2022, and they found that, there's 6% across the country who are requiring test scores, and you all know that I say all the time that MIT is one of them. 3% that are test flexible, which if you want to, you can submit. If you don't want to, they will look at your application without it. 85% are test optional. And many, every day I'm getting messages from the colleges that we extended our test optional, till, another year or 2 years. So it's seeming like they may be moving in a different direction of putting such importance on these standardized test scores. And 7% have been all along the way test-free. So what I say to students who ask me, should I submit? I say, you have to judge for yourself. If you're happy with your scores and you want them to see them, by all means. Understand that when you submit scores, they want the scores directly. They'll let you self-report initially. That's part of the process. They say, oh, self-report. But when it comes to admitting you, they want the score report from College Board, and they want the entire score report. They don't want you to just pick out the scores you want them to see. They want to see everything. Otherwise, they're left wondering, why is this not a complete report? And you never want to have negative attention drawn to you. So it's better to just send all the scores, let them decide, what they're going to do with them, as far as how they're going to power score them, and just call it a day. You all have worked so hard all along the way that you should not get all frazzled about this test scores. But at the end of the day, you are the best judge of whether or not you should be submitting the scores. All right. So the next slide, please. Are there any questions so far? I don't ever see a chat. So, okay. So, again, this is just more information on the test optional policies as they stand right now. Because so many schools are test optional, it's really up to you to check to see which schools are doing what, and how they're going to use the schools, how they're going to use the scores. One thing that I will say to really pay attention to is sometimes they do not require, like it's optional for your test scores for admission to the school. However, if you're looking for a scholarship, a school-sponsored scholarship, or a special program, they may very well say in that instance they need the test scores, and you do not want to find that out last minute. You want to know that ahead of time. So if you remember back to when we interviewed one-on-one, I had suggested endlessly to keep some kind of either database of all these policies for every school, or a journal in a paper and pencil kind of manner, so that you have at your fingertips what each school requires for all the possibilities. Last year there was somebody who, the day before that the application was due for a scholarship for that college, said, I didn't realize I needed to send my test scores, and now they won't get there in time. And there's really nothing I can do, because they don't want them from me. They want them from College Board. So please, please, please read the fine prints. I know it's overwhelming. Believe me, I'm doing it myself. But you need to schools that you care about, you need to know inside and out what it is that they want from you, so you're not caught off guard. Okay, next slide. Okay, so I have a tendency, those of you who know me, to talk a lot, and sometimes I say things in the middle of something else that is going to come up at a different time. So here we are, back to the fee waiver, which is, a really important piece. College itself is expensive, and applying to college, if you're paying for each application, is very expensive. So, it's important that we talk about that and that you understand. So again, for those of you who are eligible for fee waivers for SAT, you will get 4 additional college fee waivers, and they will be on your College Board account. So you have to look for those. All right. And there's a code, of course, and Miss Hannah is way better with this than I am, but there's codes that's associated with these fee waivers. So you have to make sure that you, add that code in the payment section for your applications. All right. On the Common App, it's going to ask whether your financial circumstances qualify you for a fee waiver. And again, if you qualified for an SAT fee waiver, then that's a yes. If there's income considerations, it's a yes. So you check it off, and then I have to validate the validity of that. So you can't just check off anything. Everything gets double checked. But if you are eligible for those waivers, then you can put up to 20 colleges on your Common App. I'm not suggesting anyone do that. That's an awful lot of work. But you can put up to 20, and then you'll have fee waivers for all of them. Not for more than that, but for those 20. Okay. All right. So I'm sorry that I did not put the link. It was on my other PowerPoint from June, but the link for the lunch forms, I hope that you all have done them by now, because I know Ms. Malafont is very good about reminding people, and I'm sending students to her regularly for that purpose. And, but if you have not for some reason done it yet, please do it, because we're getting close to the actual process of applying, and you don't want to be running around. There is a delay between the time that you apply and for us to get the approval back. So you want to know as soon as possible. So please, if you have not done it, make sure that you do it. All right, next slide, please. Okay. So again, redundant, but important. I find that I know that I have sent things many times, and then I get emails and students sitting in my office with shocked looks on their face when I say, "Don't you remember I said this?" So I'm saying it again. You have to match Common App to Naviance. You must sign that FERPA or nothing's happening. You have to add the colleges in. Now, initially I said you don't have to put all of them in there, but eventually you do, because otherwise you're not going to be able to apply. So it may sound really silly, all these things that I'm repeating and I'm trying to really hammer home, but you don't want to miss a deadline. If you miss a deadline, there is not an excuse that's going to, hold water with anyone, any of the colleges. They're clear. This is what has to be. And we're trying to be as clear as we can be that you have to be responsible and pay attention, and make sure that you did, in fact, sign the FERPA, add your colleges. Once you match to Naviance, the Common App, even as you go back and add more colleges, it'll automatically update your colleges I'm applying to tab on Naviance. So we will know in real time what's going on. Otherwise, it's impossible for us to keep track of what 352 students actually do. What you intend to do and what you actually do are not always the same thing. So it's really important that you do all these things exactly as they're laid out. And again, come in the office and ask for help if that is necessary. And we will absolutely help you with that. Okay. And this is eventually going to end up, as do all the presentations, on your classroom. So if you need to go back and refer to something, or if you want to share it with a friend, absolutely do so. Okay. Next slide, please. All right. So starting, I do believe the first college visit is going to be the 20th of September, which is earlier than usual. But we're trying to get as many colleges in as possible, because when you have the opportunity to sit and ask questions of a rep that's going to be looking at your application in a few months, it's really priceless. So lots of you came to the college fair and you had a preview of meeting the reps. And some of you, I noticed, really went out of your way to introduce yourself and spend some time chatting. And that's always a good thing to do. So these college visits that we organize are an even more personal way for that to happen. Some of depending on the popularity of a college, some of them are going to be up in the library, and some of them will be in 139. And if we have like a mid-range amount of students, we have certain classrooms in the school that are designated for the reps to be in. And there's a specific way. You can't just show up. You have there during every lunch period. So certainly during your lunch periods, it's easy. You just fill out go into Naviance, select the visit you want to go to, register, and print the pass, and that's fine. If you're trying to come out of a class, that's a whole nother story. Now you need to have teacher permission. You can't just say, "Oh, I'm going to a college visit, so I'm going to miss your class." It doesn't work that way. The teacher has to give permission. If they don't give permission, then you're not going to be able to attend the session. All students must have a pass in order to enter into any of these visits. So we need to know how big the attendance is going to be, because like in my office, we cap out at probably around 12 students. So for a small group, it's fine. But for 50 students, we need the library, and 20, 30, we can do it in a classroom. So we need to know, which is why we ask you to register. And please don't just inform your teachers. Ask them. If they say no, respect that, because it's their class, it's their time. So they get to decide. All right. So far, we already have over 50, probably close to 60 colleges that have scheduled to come in, and they will start in force in October. A few trickling in September, you'll see, but the majority are going to be in October, and a few will continue on until November. And then we'll, call it a day, because you guys are going to be, I got to start working with the juniors, so that'll be that. But you'll have plenty of opportunities. If you're not used to checking the college classroom for your grade, please get used to it, because there's lots of great things. I just posted for all the SUNYs are coming back to the Javits Center this year, and they'll be there in October. So I just, that'll probably be up tomorrow or the next day. Well, tomorrow, because tomorrow's Friday. And all kinds of colleges that are having either in-person or virtual visits of their own that you can attend. It's all on the classroom. They send it to me, I put it up. So please check. And it's going to start to be scholarship time very soon. So it'll be also scholarships get posted in there. So it's really a good idea to just check. I check multiple databases all day long. It's important, because this is for your future. You're going to college, right? So now you want to figure out how to pay for it. Scholarships are helpful, helpful way to at least lighten the load a little bit, if not pay for a good chunk of your college. Okay. Next slide, please. So financial aid. It's a little messy. The federal student aid the form is being revamped, and it's almost ready, but it's not going to be ready for October 1st. They're saying, I was just on a presentation yesterday about where they're at. They're not done by any means. They're far along, and they're hoping for a December 1st rollout, but we're going to have to wait and see. So originally we had, when we thought we didn't realize that it was going to actually come to fruition, that they were going to change it this year, we scheduled for September 21st. So clearly nobody's ready to say anything as of this moment in time. So it will be, we have tentatively scheduled it for November 8th, and I'm hoping by then it's concrete, because otherwise we'll move on from there. But at any rate, everybody fills the FAFSA every year. This new FAFSA is going to be simpler, and I don't want to get too much into it, but I will say that one of the things that's great about it is that you don't have to parents are invited by the student to their form. So they're not necessarily doing anything separately. They're adding to their students' form. So it's just more streamlined. And there's one of the reasons why it's a little bit of a hiccup is that they're working with the IRS to grab the tax forms directly. So it won't be the data retrieval tool. It's escaping me what the name of the new acronym for the new tool will be, but you're going to have to say yes to giving them permission to automatically take the tax return information. So in lots of ways, that's much simpler. But there are concerns, so I guess they're just trying to make sure that everything is spot on before they roll it out. But it seems like they're trying. They eliminated a lot of the questions. They consolidated things. They added a few more exceptions. They increased the number of people who would be Pell eligible. So there's lots of good things too. It's just not quite ready. So, however, The FAFSA applies to all schools. The CSS applies to those of you who are applying to private schools. They have their own, it's with the College Board, the CSS profile, their own form. So they want the FAFSA, yes, but they also want this CSS profile. It's more in depth, and it's something that you can access through the College Board. And again, as you're continuing to look at your colleges and researching that end of it, the financial end of it, if they want the CSS profile, that still can be done October 1st. And I would say do it. If you're applying to schools that require it, do it, get it over with, because you're going to have enough on your plate as the semester continues and your coursework continues, and you're getting ready for the semester to end, and you want to have a great transcript right through the bitter end. You don't want to delay completing the CSS profile if you need it when it's going to be available for October 1st. And that there is a fee. I don't want to be quoted on it, but I do believe it's $15 per college. I don't know. They'll tell you for sure. Okay, and it can vary, so we'll see. All right. So again, more will be revealed about the actual financial aid information. It's not going to be the 21st, so you can just ignore that. But you will be informed when it is going to be happening. Okay. Next slide. All right. So tomorrow we are going to have, we've made folders for each one of you, which is something we have not done with the pandemic and all kinds of crazy stuff. But in just trying to assess what would help you, we decided that there's something to be said for having a folder full of college information, so you don't have to go open up a website and click on a link and flip. You'll have something that you can have in your hands, and it is absolutely chock full of all kinds of information, way more than this that I'm gonna get into. But you can look forward to that, and we'll be letting you know. I think that we're going to have you come to the college office, during lunch periods and pick it up, sign for it, so we know who has actually, received their packet. Okay, so things to think about. Make sure that you know up to the minute what the college is asking for, what they require, and how they expect you to notify them, and how they will notify you. Another reason to be really vigilant with your emails. I hope that you all, when it comes to college, you have changed your email address to, I'm not advocating for Gmail, but something other than the school email, because the school email gets purged at the end of, once you graduate, the city system just purges them. So that's not going to be good. You want to be able to always be able to access any past information. Yes, the FAFSA is a required form. Everybody fills out the FAFSA. Okay. So, all right. So make sure that you understand. Oh, the email. I'm sorry. The email needs to be an email that's dedicated just to college. So make it, as professional as you can make it. No, QD 101 is not going to cut it with college. You're going to have some, more professional email that is dedicated only to college. All colleges require the FAFSA. What early EA is just early action. It's just a way of applying. It's not it's applying to the college in November, on November 1st, as opposed to perhaps January 15th for a regular decision. So yes, FAFSA is standard, and you fill it out every year, the whole time you're in college. Every year you'll be reminded that you have to fill out FAFSA for the following year. Okay, so can you apply regular action to a school before the early action deadline if applying restrictive early action to another school? No, because the restrictive, says that you cannot apply to any school's early action if you're applying. The restrictive early action schools are, Stanford, Harvard, Yale, Princeton, those types of schools. There's 7 of them. Georgetown is one of them as well. So they restrict how you can apply if you want to apply to them. If you want to apply to their school, great, but they're going to restrict it and say you cannot apply early action or early decision to any other institution unless it is a state or a city institution, like a city university or a state college. Yes, then you can do an early action, but no private schools. Okay. Where do we find the colleges I'm applying to checklists? So that's all to be revealed tomorrow. Okay, that's going to come through the college classroom. So grants, scholarships, well, financial aid, all of it is offered to all students if they're eligible. Okay, it doesn't matter if you apply early, regular, rolling, doesn't matter. If you are eligible, then it's offered to you. Okay. So no FAFSA yet. No FAFSA at least until December, and that will be another. We'll have another conversation about that. And there's a particular website you'll go to, and you'll have all that information. But it's not available now. Still working on the details. So you don't have to worry about the FAFSA right now. You have to worry about college. All right. So make sure. I'm going to go back to my little list here. So if your application is due November 1st, it does not mean that you have to wait until November 1st to submit. If your application is complete and ready to go, you can submit it at any time. If you're nervous about that, and it's interesting to me that a lot of you are nervous, people come into the college office, we open up your account and we say, hit submit. And we just cheer and support you through the process. There's no reason to have to wait to the last minute. If you do, you wait to that, right before the deadline hour, you run the risk of many thousands of students doing the same thing. And if the system crashes, it's not going to be like, oh, we understand the system crashed, so couldn't apply. Your application is not going to be eligible because you'll be late. Okay, so don't hesitate. When you're done, submit it. Move on to the next. You have enough work to do. Okay, on Common App, it asks the class rank reporting. Okay, so we don't report rank. We don't report rank because all of you are exemplary students. So you're on top of each other. And the rank is a distortion of your ability. So we do not rank. We explain that in our profile. All the colleges that you guys are interested in and that we work with are all aware that this is how we operate, and they understand. So there should be a point where it says, my school does not rank, and that's what you would check. Okay. All right, so before the due date. Okay, so this is a misunderstanding about early action. Early action is a means of applying. It has nothing to do with paying for college. It has everything to do with, I want to apply early. I think I'm a fantastic candidate for your institution. Please consider me right now. And I would like to have my answer quickly. So usually by early January, the decisions are made in regards to early action. So with early action, you don't have to accept that decision until May 1st. And you're not paying until way after that. So it's not about paying upfront. It's about applying early because you think you're a good candidate for the school. Okay. If you apply early action, one school only, because it's a decision. An early decision is one school only. It's a binding agreement. If you get accepted, then you have to withdraw all your other applications. So I usually suggest to students that for regular decision applications, get them ready, but don't submit them because, if you have to pay for them, they don't give you a reimbursement if you withdraw them. So get them ready, but don't submit. And for your early actions, you're going to have to withdraw them if you get accepted to your ED. If you're not, if you're deferred, if you rolled over to regular decision or you denied, then it's not an issue. You don't have to change any of your applications, and then you can pursue your regular decision if you so choose. So in theory, yes, you can do EA, ED, and also regular. However, understanding that if ED ends up to be, positive for you and you're accepted, that you have to go, because you have said with your application, ED, you've said, yes, I am coming. And you're not waiting for your financial award letter. You've said yes in November. So you have to go. It's a big decision, which is why we ask you to talk to your parents and guardians about that. It shouldn't be something you do and, just inform your family. It's a family decision. Everybody should know. And yes, we sign off on the any of the, well, not restrictive early action, no, but the early decision. I have to sign off on that. Because restrictive early action, even though they restrict what other schools you can apply to early, it's not binding. So you can turn it down. So I hate to answer this question because in truth, you can apply to as many as you want. In actuality, it's a poor plan, in my assessment, to apply to more than 3 or 4 early action schools in addition to a early decision, because it's a lot of work. And I'll remind you that you're in high school, you're taking AP classes that teachers expect you to do your work and to perform. And if you're going to apply early, those applications need to be excellent. Nothing wrong, nothing missing, nothing out of line. You've had somebody look it over, your essays, and everything is perfect. It's a lot of work to be done by November 1st. It's already the 14th of September. Before you know it, it's going to be October. Before you know it, it's November 1st. In the meantime, there's other things going on that you have to pay attention to. So I would say that limit. And hopefully you've been thinking, where do you really want to apply? Where do you really want to go? And you have a reasonable amount of schools. Don't overload yourself, because if your GPA drops precipitously compared to where you were in junior year, the colleges are not going to be happy with that. And every summer, we get letters saying, we're concerned that your final grades are not comparable to what you have done all through high school. Can you explain this to us? So that's not the way to start college. And then, that could mean also that you're on probation, academic probation, you didn't even start school yet. So it's very important that you don't overload yourself. You do a good job with what you have, a reasonable amount of schools. You're all going to college. It's not like you're not. Every one of you is going to be someplace fabulous. So don't put too much weight on yourself. There's a lot of other things to be paying attention to as well. Okay, so teacher recommendations. If you invite the teachers and give them the link to Naviance, you invite them through Naviance, and I think it forwards them a link. Then they will upload it, and you don't have to worry about that. You have your own stuff to worry about. We worry about that. The college office worries about, did the teachers do this? Did the teachers do that? We make sure all that is done. Your job is to pay attention to your application. Okay, so the differences between EA and ED are not subtle. It's sort of like a, pretty strong difference. Early action is non-binding, which means if you apply, say you apply to 4 schools early action, they all said, we love you, come. You could say no to all of them. I hope you don't, but you could say no thank you. 1 ED, and if they say we want you, that's it, you're going to go. And if they don't offer you like the package that you had hoped for financially, you already said that you were going to go. And that's part of the understanding, is that you don't have that information ahead of time. And there's not, ethically wiggle room to get out of an ED. It's a legal binding contract, which is why you sign it, mom, dad, guardian signs it, and I sign it. So we're all agreeing that everybody understands this is a binding agreement, and if accepted, student will attend. That's not subtle. That's clear. So EA, you do not have to attend. ED, you absolutely do. Okay? All right. So down to this list of colleges I'm applying to and changes and all those kind of things. That information is going to be sent to you tomorrow. It will be sent into your classroom. And as you go in there and start filling it out, it will be generated to us. So we'll be able to know what it is that you're doing. Once you submit it, if you want to make changes to it, there's a particular form. You don't go back in and change that main form. There's a change form that you're going to do. And again, all the instructions are going to be there. And that, we're here to help you with that. So please read carefully all the directions. And if you're still uncertain, just come in and we will help you with that. So I want to remind you all, because, the interesting thing for me is that junior year, all of you, and this is every junior class every year, just fabulous. So dedicated, so involved and doing everything just wonderfully. And senior year comes and you're busy with college, and then you get accepted to college and you start feeling like, oh, well, now I don't have to worry. I'm done. I got accepted. They gave me money. Who has it better than me? And the truth of the matter is, until June 30th, 2024, it's not over, because the college office will be sending in February a mid-year report that says what you did in the fall term of senior year. And if there's a change, I'm going to get little questions from the colleges, like, what's this? Sometimes with the early decision, in the middle of December, they'll say, Ms. Devine, please send me a snapshot of where this individual student is right now, because we want to know before we decide that they are doing what we hope that they are doing based on what they did previously. So any change in your, and I don't mean a point or two, is not, everyone understands. It's different senior year because you're busy trying to navigate this college process. But if it's a large drop from what you have done all along the way, they want to know why. And they're going to ask you why. Well, first they ask me, and I'm like, well, let me refer you to the student, and maybe they can explain it to you. I really have no way of explaining why somebody let their grades drop. Senioritis is like, happens in the most dedicated of students. And it always just amazes me that for 3 years they were spot on, just fabulous. And then senior year, they just, I guess maybe you're tired or whatever happens. I don't know. But so be mindful of that. And right up into the ends, they care. This past summer, I got a couple of concerning letters from one of the colleges. It'll be in the packet that you get tomorrow, blacked out, so you don't know who it was. But 2 different students, exactly what I just said. What happened? You were such a great student, and now we see this C+. Where did that come from? And you have 10 days to respond, and with explanation, and then we will match you with an academic advisor. And this is, again, not even foot on campus yet, so it's not the way you want to start, especially if you're looking to go to if you want to go to any college. It's not the way you want to start, but most especially these prestigious institutions, the expectation is that you are going to remain the stellar student you were all along the way. So really, just be mindful. Social media postings, I also tucked something in the folder about that. They're not so much early on. They were literally watching like your Facebook and whatever, Instagrams and Twitters and things like that. Now what they're doing is, all they have to do is Google your name, and boom, everything about you is going to come up. And maybe there were things that you might have posted in the past that you thought are gone, and somebody took a snapshot and decides, you know what, I never liked that kid, so they're going to send it off. And I don't know if you guys remember the incident in Harvard where a whole group of students ended up losing their seats for exactly that reason. So just be mindful. Don't put anything up there that you don't want your grandma to see. And don't procrastinate. If you wait to the ends, the night before, to start doing things, the stress blocks the front part of your brain. You're not going to be able to think clearly to do a good job, and you miss out on opportunities that you've worked really hard to get to this point, and you deserve them. And I can't say this enough, that you have to communicate with the college office. Come in, ask questions, share information. I cannot keep track of 352 students if they don't come in and cooperate. So please, help me out, help the office out, and we will, we'll keep it right on pace wherever you are, but we have to know where you are. So communication is absolutely essential. And just get used to coming in and asking, and, or when you have a success, share that with us, because it's nice to know the good stuff too, not just all the fears and the questions. So that's it for me. Any other questions before we close? Okay, so tomorrow you'll be hearing about the folders. You'll be getting in the classroom the colleges I'm applying to checklists. Okay, would you say that one should apply only if you're a strong candidate for the school? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So The purpose of ED and EA originally was for students who, clearly were in the top 5-10% of their class to say, look at me, I'm absolutely, going to benefit your college in all these ways, and have an opportunity to kind of display themselves. So that's the type of student who is going to be applying those ways, not just from our school, because there's students are applying from all over the world, all over the country to these colleges. So the ones that are strong believe that they are a great match for the school, not that they want to go there so badly because they love it, but that they actually love it and they are a match. That's the student who is applying ED and EA. And successfully, I should say. Any other questions? Okay. Well, I look forward to the process. It's already in motion here. I spent a good portion of the summer doing some preemptive letter writing. So I feel that I'm in a comfortable place and ready to keep abreast of what is coming with all your applications. So please keep me informed. All right. Have a great. How can I know the ranking of yourself for your own rank? So you're never going to know that because we don't rank. There is no ranking. All right. Take care. Thank you for great questions.